And welcome to iceHQ Ice Arena here in in Reservoir, Melbourne, Australia, where we are watching a A-grade tussle between the Eclipse and the Bumble Bees. The Eclipse in white with red and black stripes, and the Bumble Bees in orange and blue. The game's just underway now. It's been started for just about a moment or two. At the moment on the draw, just so you know where they are in the standings, the Bumble Bees with 8 games played, 4 wins, 2 losses and 2 ties, have currently 10 points and they're second on the ladder. The Eclipse currently 8 games in as well with 3 wins and 5 losses, and they've got 6 points. So they're currently solidly in 4th place out of a ladder of 5. They would like to win this one to bring themselves up above or get closer to the levels to give themselves a chance to get into the finals. The top 3 teams, I believe, in this grade are making it through. The Bumble Bees at the moment with a referee's hand up for a penalty, so it looks like we're going to fairly shortly see them get a power play once the Eclipse get control of the puck. Referee with a hand up for the penalty. Not sure what it's for yet, but there it is. The Eclipse get possession, and immediately, of course, with the referee with a hand up, says that's it. And we have 2 minutes for interference. And that's going to... I should get a name for you in just a second. That's Jesse Moore from the Eclipse doing 2 minutes. So we'll get to see the first power play of the game for the Bumble Bees. Out to Moore, who looks for the opportunity to get the shot on, fires it in low and hard for a deflection. Very nearly put in there by Justin Orty, but the Eclipse managed to clear the puck out nicely. We've got one stranger in a foreign uniform out there, someone wearing an Oilers top by the look of it. But, roughly the same colours. And that's Pigo wearing number 13. I think that's how you pronounce his name correctly. Anyway, the power play at the moment with... I've lost the time on that, but they're about a minute and a half into the power play as the Bumble Bees dump it deep in, which is an interesting tactic on a power play. It is throwing away possession and giving the opposition chance to run the puck out, but Pigo keeps it in on the point. And good job there, but the Eclipse now with possession looking to clear the puck out. The Eclipse have a short bench tonight. They've only got 5 on it, so 2 lines, whereas the Bumble Bees a few more. So the third period, which has always been the Eclipse's weakness, may well find themselves in a little bit more strife in the third period. But they're competitive in the first and have been in the last couple of games that we've seen them play. And that penalty still ongoing now, just under a minute to play on the power play for the Bumble Bees, who with a little touch of the puck there managed to avoid the icing. Goes in, but the Eclipse regain possession and looking to play it out 2D for the Eclipse, getting a little bit tangled up and making themselves a bit vulnerable, but managing to get away with it, filtering, ducking underneath a lofted puck, and it's all the way down the other end to run some more time down off the clock. 35 seconds now to go on the Bumblebee power play. A long stretch pass, but not quite completed there by Muir, and the Eclipse with another chance to clear it out. And they just need to run the clock down at the moment, and they do so. Nice little clearance out. Campbell trying to make a bit of a move for a shorty, but it's not going to happen this time. Well, it's pretty close, though. He's got good possession. And with 15 seconds to play on the power play, the Eclipse actually with a pretty good opportunity here to maybe score a shorty, but now they're found exposed in D. But only the one Eclipse play, only the one Bumblebee making back now as it opens for a drop pass. Tried to be a little bit too fancy, didn't get the shot on, and that just about concludes the penalty. Not a lot of shots on there for the Bumblebees in this first opening power play, but they finally get one on just as they got back to full strength for the Eclipse. And still a little bit of congestion around the net. Filtering looking for a chance to clear it out. He chips it neatly up the board. The boys perhaps looking for a change, and sure enough, there's a line change for the Eclipse as the Bumblebees go down to pick up a puck on the Beer League icing. If you're not familiar with the Beer League icing rule here, it's not like conventional hockey rules. The rule is that if the puck goes down into an icing situation, the defending player merely has to get possession before they can be pressured. It doesn't result in a face-off down the other end unless there is unless there's an infraction and you then the attacking player puts pressure on before the defending team has recognisable control. So it's an interesting rule. It does keep the game moving quite well. It's the Bumblebees with an opportunity, and they stick the puck in the net early on. So 13 minutes to go, and the Bumblebees have drawn the first goal of the game. We should see that hopefully on a replay here in just a minute. With a bit of luck, you can see we've got Spacequake running the broadcast this evening as a trial run again and a bit of rehearsal for next week's round of the Pacific Hockey League, which will be here between the Melbourne Ducks and the Brisbane Rampage. And that promises to be a cracker, a lot at stake in the Pacific League for that game. It's wide open if you've been paying attention. And if you haven't, I'll bring you up to speed on the Pacific. All teams still with a chance to make finals. And the Ducks would like to finish first if they can. As Tafif now breaking out, passes across to Nave, looking for an opportunity now for the Eclipse to get revenge and square things up. Nice move around by Nave. He's pretty quick, but he's got corralled into the corner. And just manages to finally get a shot on through the defenceman there. And that's just Bolton, I think. No, Brian Masters getting the shot in and just managing to recover there in defence as Eclipse get another change. Keeping some fresh legs on the ice. This is the A grade of the B League here. It's pretty fast, but it is a non-checking division, so you shouldn't see much in the way of contact. In this division, the players are certainly skillful enough to know that if they do hit you, they meant it. So the referees usually with not too much to do in this division. The players mostly policing themselves. Good block there by 79 there for the Eclipse. I don't have him on my list here, so I can't tell you who he is. It might be Isaac Norris. I'm not sure because it's not actually on the team list here, but that's the nature of B League. Sometimes things are a little bit random. A nice little shot on there on the 5-hole, but the goaltender again, I'm not sure who that is either for the Eclipse because he's not showing up on the team list. Did a good job of just closing the 5-hole in time. And here comes Campbell with a chance, but corralled into the corner by the Bumble Bees. Breaks through. Two defensive players drop down in front to block it off, but in the end, a nice safe save there by Dan Fisher in goals for the Bumble Bees. Nice save too. It was a good angle that he was forced out too wide by the Bumblebee defence. So not a particularly challenging shot there for Fisher, to have to take care of, but every goalie will tell you they do add up, and it's important. Bumblebees now breaking it out. A little bit of confusion across mid-ice as the defenceman comes forward looking for an opportunity, and that's a player here, Ant Collins, who's still wearing that number 99 jersey, which is on the ban list, but anyway, he's still got it. He played very well last time these two teams played together in the third when the Eclipse ran out of legs, and he was quite dangerous. He does move well, but the Eclipse just clearing out that little cross-ice pass through the slot. The Bumblebees again trying it on. We've got loose players floating around in the slot. The Eclipse being a little bit exposed in defence, perhaps lucky to get away with it. Clink, a little fakey, but then a little bit slow to get his shot away. Moving around a lot, but almost looks like a power play here at the moment. The Bumblebees just not quite able to capitalise on a little bit of defensive stack there by the Eclipse, who had almost every single one of the players. And we've got a solid breakaway by Campbell, who dekes around the side of Fisher, but Fisher gets the glove up and gets a deflection into the corner. Good piece of goaltending work there from that fast break. The most dangerous thing in hockey is an odd player rush, and that's what the Eclipse just had. So they've got to make sure that doesn't happen to them too often. You can't rely on your goalie to save everyone. It's a very high-risk play in hockey. There's still a little bit of congestion down, but the Eclipse managed to break it down the other end. This time no pressure on, and you can see that the referee with his hand up for an icing call, and this means that the players can't put pressure on until recognisable control. Big stretch pass from Bumblebees, but it's cleaned up nicely there by Masters for the Eclipse. Phil Trin having a little bit of a dig down for the puck as well. A very talented player, Phil. He also does a lot of the technical work here at iceHQ, and he's just put up a new sign in the shop, which he's very, very proud of, that says open. Might not sound like a big deal, but it's linked up to the alarm system, so it's a bit more sophisticated than just an on-off switch. So far, pretty fast-moving game. Good forechecking pressure there by Steve Lichter, keeping the puck in deep and managing to maintain attack, but Eclipse defence this time in good position. They tied it up. And it's tidied up there again by Collins, who just keeps a little bit more pressure in. But Eclipse now with a nice opportunity for breakout if they can clear the puck out, but not quite able to. A bit of a risky pass across the front of the net. And now they get their chance. And they've cleared the puck out, and it's a 2-on-1 situation. Can Collins tidy it up? And he can. Nice piece of work there, getting back in time. And in this seesawing game of coast-to-coast hockey. Oh, a nice opportunity there for the Bumblebees, but just not quite able to connect with the puck there was Lawrence Pigo, who got a really nice opportunity for a cross-ice pass in front of the net, but just couldn't quite get his stick onto the puck. So good opportunity. They're making good chances and a lot of stretch passes, but an icing again. They've got to be a little bit careful, Bumblebees. They're doing these big cross-ice passes and going long, but it does mean that quite often they're going to get caught on icing. And that's Spencer Nave making another breakdown with a lot of speed. He's doing well so far in this game as the Eclipse just beaten there on the hold into the blue line by a defensive player. Not quite able to hold the puck in. And Bumblebees with a loose player in the slot there in Alan Moss, but not quite able to connect with the puck. They're doing a good job of setting up these opportunities. The referee's with his hand up now for a penalty on, I think, the Eclipse, and that will mean the Bumble Bees will get another power play. We'll see what it's for in just a second. I didn't see the play. But we will have the Bumble Bees with their second opportunity for the power play. The first one, they didn't get a lot of shots on. The Eclipse did a pretty good job of closing it down. But this time around, let's see if they can do a bit better. They are 1 goal up at the moment with quite a few shots on the net. And that's Ben Maher coming in to sit 2 minutes. I'm not sure exactly what it's for. He doesn't look very pleased with it, but that's hockey. Everyone thinks they're innocent until proven otherwise. And the referee is the proof of the pudding. What they see is what happened, whether you agree with it or not. More signalling for a puck out on the point, but not getting used there by Eclipse, Bumble Bees, who looked for the opportunity, and this time the puck swallowed up by the goaltender. If they can move the puck around and get those shots on, it's really a game in the power play of peppering the net and getting lots of players in quality positions and just trying to move that goalie from side to side rather than dumping the puck in and hoping. Nice piece of cross ice work there by the Bumble Bees. And this time they get a cross pass. And 27 there, just fanning the puck there. That's Philip Batsakoulis, who just fanned it a little bit. Had a good opportunity. And this time the Eclipse get away. And that's Nave, I think, who's got a good breakaway, a good bit of forechecking pressure. But they've got to be careful, the Eclipse, if they do overexpose themselves on that check. But they're getting back now and tidying things up. I've always got to be tempting. It is a very tempting thing in hockey to try and get that short-handed goal. But it does mean you leave your players exposed a little bit. Good positioning there by Eclipse defence. And that's 64 for them. Shane Bolton, who's doing a particularly good job of getting back and maintaining that basic box structure, which you can see now as Collins out on the point, passes across to another Bumblebee who fires it in. A little bit of a loose deflection, but the Eclipse were there in numbers. And they break out again, and the D go for a well-earned change. We have about 45 seconds to go on the power play and about 2.5 minutes to go in the first period. This is non-stop time, so they get 16 minutes to play. A little bit close there on too many men for the Eclipses. For the Bumblebees. There's a bit of congestion around on the net. As Steve Lichter there, just dispossessed, perhaps held the puck for a little bit too long. It's always a balancing act. Do I get my early shot on? Or do I wait till a better opportunity? And if you wait a little bit too long, then you can often get stripped of the puck. As the penalty about to wind up, 15 seconds to go before Maher gets back on the ice. That'll square things off. This has been a pretty good penalty kill so far for the Bumblebees, but just there they were lucky. Bumblebees getting a good opportunity with a cross ice pass, the D getting drawn across, and we are back to 5-on-5. That concludes the penalty with another shot very close to the net and keeping that Eclipse goaltender very busy as Maher circling around late. He wasn't pleased with the call. There's icing is up, so he's got to back it off as Pigo goes in to pick up the puck, and you can just see Maher circling around, not putting that forechecking pressure on the Bumblebees, who now get a chance to break out easily. The rule is that you can put pressure on the opponent once they've got recognisable control, but you need to hold it around about the top of the face-off dots. So you don't have to circle out and come all the way out of the zone if it's referee has their hand up for icing. You can get close and keep moving, so as soon as they have possession, you can go in and put pressure on, which means a dump down the other end in this division is not quite as big an issue as it would be perhaps in a conventional icing game. So it means you can get yourself out of pressure and get yourself in quickly. A stick there on the ice for the goaltender. Just flick back to them as we have a little bit of a mid-ice collision there between Campbell and Muir. And we have a hand up, and we're going to see this time around a power play for the Eclipse. Can they get themselves on the scoreboard? We have 2 minutes for tripping. And that has gone to, I will tell you in just a moment when it pops up on our system. Eclipse so far with 3 shots on the net to the Bumblebees 10. Eclipse will want to get some on in this particular power play. They've got about 24 seconds to play on this period, so they will probably be starting the next period with a man advantage. And they get a shot on, but it's just deflected away by some good defence by Muir, I think, in front of the slot as they break out now with about, I can't see the scoreboard from here, I'm sorry, but probably about 10 seconds to play in the period as Collins just dumps it back out and running the clock down. He's no doubt aware of the time, and they take the long tumbling shot into the net just on the horn. It's a great option, get that shot in right the last bit. Sometimes goalies have been known to just switch off. They see the clock and they think, this period's all over, I don't have a rest. And then some weird bouncing puck comes in from unexpected directions. And every now and then it does catch a goalie out of play, and we'll stop for a break. Welcome back to iceHQ rink here in Reservoir, Melbourne, Australia, where we are watching the A-grade battle between the Eclipse and the Bumble Bees. At the moment, to bring you up to speed, the Eclipse with a 1-goal deficit, the Bumble Bees 1 and the Eclipse 2. And we've just about finished a power play where the Eclipse started the period with a man advantage, but you wouldn't know it. The Bumble Bees playing like they're on the power play, and they've got quite a few shots on in this particular little stanza. They're now up to 13 shots to 3, and the Eclipse hardly able to take anything out of that power play despite the numerical advantage that they had. They didn't get many shots on at all, which is disappointing for them. They'll need to do better. They do want to win this game to give themselves a chance to get up out of 4th position on the ladder, get themselves close to levels if they can do it. As they are back to full strength now. We're back to 5-on-5. As the Eclipse are a little bit vulnerable. Certainly last time they played against this team, they played a good first and second period and then faded really badly in the third. Short bench didn't do them any favours, and this time they've got a full bench, or at least they've got one spare line, which is going to hold them in better stead than the last time these two teams met. But the Eclipse with a fuller bench, the Bumble Bees with a fuller bench, so we'll eventually get it right. And certainly some very skilled and fast players on both teams. This is the A grade here at the B League here at Reservoir at iceHQ. Puck comes out and the Eclipse will have to reset as the Bumble Bees manage to get the puck out of their zone. Nice neutral zone play by the Eclipse, and that is Naif, who gets a shot off just a little bit wide of the post, beautifully covered there by Fisher, who's doing a pretty good job in the goal for the Bumble Bees. He hasn't had a particularly good season so far, I suspect, by his standard. I think his numbers at the moment were, I'll just find out for you in a moment, we'll get that while the game plays, but I think he was saving around about 7.5, 7.8 or thereabouts, which he would probably like to do a little bit better, but Bumble Bees, again with a loose player, and the Eclipse are letting them sit around. They've got often got a loose player just sitting across the front of the goal face and doing a good job of it. And we've got a little bit of a referee hand up for some infraction as well, which will probably be another penalty to the Bumble Bees as soon as the Eclipse get possession, and they do. And we've got another penalty now, this time the Bumble Bees, and it'll be 2 minutes for cross-checking on Spencer Nave. I'm not quite sure exactly what that one was for. I didn't see it, but there you go. The referee sees reality, and everyone else has to cope with whatever it was. He looks a little bit bemused himself, but that's the nature of sport. If the referee makes a call, then you just have to accept that that's the way the world is, whether or not you agree with the call that's made. And the referee does have a pretty good position on the ice to see what's happening. There's a bouncing puck there for the Bumble Bees. This is their opportunity, perhaps, and they get a shot on the net. But Collins has his pocket pick there. He's perhaps a little bit slow in getting rid of the puck. A little bit too confident there on the power play. But they're just trying to draw the Eclipse forward into getting out of position for their penalty kill. As Chris Wong does a good job of making some space around in the corner. And they're just almost squandering that opportunity, I think, the Bumble Bees. But they're going to eventually get a shot on. And there is a nice deflection. And not quite in the net, but a good opportunity there for a 5-hole shot. Closed up eventually by the goaltender, and the puck almost out. But just kept in by the Bees, and Collins cross-ice pass there. But Manning not quite able to connect with it, but it was a beautiful opportunity. More time and space now for the Bumble Bees to ping a shot in, and that one bounces off the net and will stop the game, but not the clock. So it's not stop time. So with 57 seconds to pay on the power play for the Bumble Bees, every one of these little stoppages helps the Eclipse. It runs the clock down, but everyone also gets a chance to get their breath back for just a few seconds or so, and we'll be finishing this with about 40 seconds to play on the power play for the Bumble Bees. Nice little tussle there for the puck in the corners, but the Bumble Bees break out with it. Something that they've got to be careful of. They're perhaps over-committing in their defence on this penalty kill. They're looking perhaps for a short-handed goal, which is a very sexy thing, but it's a high-risk strategy as well. And when you're in a situation like this in a game where you're only one down early on, high-risk strategies maybe not the wisest thing. But it's their game and their call. 13 seconds to go now on the power play before Nave for the Eclipse will come back out on the ice and square it all up. And he's certainly been a very fast and dangerous player for the Eclipse, and one of the most threatening players that they've had in terms of attacking opportunities. And we are back to 5-on-5 as Nave straight on to the ice and immediately into a forecheck. But now he comes across for a change. Bumble Bees with caught in the neutral zone. A little bit of a tangle between two, but the referee doesn't call anything on that. It was just I wouldn't say an innocent collision, but a collision with no malice in it. And Eclipse now moving around in front of the net, trying to get those opportunities. But Bumblebee's doing a good job of tidying up. And now Muir just not quite able to stop the icing as he touches the puck just before the middle line. He does a good job in that forecheck, though. You can see there in play that iceHQ icing rule where the forecheck can still be placed on the player and apply pressure. And that's where, if you get it wrong and the puck comes out, the referee with a hand up for a penalty. I'm not sure what that one was for, but you can see there that by putting pressure on that icing, you can sometimes get a turnaround. If you take the boards away, the defensive player will often be tempted to make a fairly poor pass across ice through high-risk area, and it is Phil Trin this time, getting 2 minutes in the naughty box for what looks like a hook or a slash, one of the two. So Phil gets 2 minutes to sit down and contemplate his life decisions. He doesn't look too unhappy about having a brief rest, but now the Eclipse, so the Bumblebees with another opportunity and a big shot in from the point, from the blue line, by Dylan Moore was not successful, and the Eclipse have managed to clear the puck down the other end and run the time down. They were doing all right this period. They haven't had any goals scored on them despite a number of opportunities, but they do need to shut down that loose player that the Bumblebees are consistently getting in the slot. They're going to get, sooner or later, one of them is going to go in. It's Latima with a big aggressive forecheck and a stretch pass across the Muir, and this time he's into the corner. Pressured hard by Eclipse defence who get in. But Collins out floating around on the point looking for the puck. He gets it. Passes across, and there's a shot opportunity. Fires it in, but nice piece of block work by Eclipse. A little bit lucky perhaps, but running two players out, which does expose them in tight. But that worked for them this time. And Collins circles across, looks for the opportunity. Nice save. Not quite able to get it in the net, but it was a good move there by Collins, who saw the opportunity to get in to a high slot position to fire away. And he has another shot this time, but just after the whistle blows for some infraction. We have 7 minutes and 45 seconds to play in the second period. The Bumblebees up 1-0 to the Eclipse. And shots on the net at the moment, Bumblebees 18 to the Eclipse 5. And now we have a Bumblebee doing 2 minutes in the sin bin. Presumably 2 minutes anyway. We'll find out what that one's for in the moment. And it's an interference call. As Phil Trin's got his 2 minutes for tripping. Everyone having a merry old chat in the penalty box. I don't think anyone's too upset about it. Neither of those calls were for anything malicious. The tripping one is a compulsory penalty to the referees. They don't have any say in it. If your stick causes someone else to trip over, whether or not you're contesting the puck, it doesn't matter. And now the Eclipse with full strength. Phil Trin back on the ice, so the Eclipse with a power play. And they'll be looking desperately to get some shots on. They only have 5 so far. Phil immediately getting a touch on the puck and trying to break it across. But unfortunately for him, the cross-ice pass to no one in particular, and the Bumblebees with plenty of time and space to deal with it. Now, the Bumblebees at the moment are on a penalty kill, but the last time they played, it almost looked like they were on a power play. They got a lot of scoring opportunities and a stretch pass across there to Manning, who drives into the corner, and he's got a loose player in the slot by the Eclipse. Still loose player in the slot for the Eclipse, for the Bumblebees, who's just floating around. The Eclipse guys, you're on a penalty here. You don't want to let that happen. Shorthand is very embarrassing. But Bumblebees again still possession. Cross-post pass. And the Eclipse will have to go in and dig it out again. No shots on the net so far in this power play as the Bumblebees steal again. Get a shot in on the net. Bobbling around. But the goaltender just desperately reaches out and puts his glove on it. And that shuts it down. And we have a no goal for the Bumblebees, who every time they're on a penalty kill have almost looked like they're on a power play. They've got a very good, rapid, high risk, but so far successful strategy of going for stretch passes. And it is working for them quite well. And the Eclipse just not shutting it down and letting loose players float around. But this time they've got a chance in Amar, who's got across the neutral zone, chips in past the Bumblebee defence, who look to clear it out, and they do, and it's out of the zone again, and back it goes. Masters and Moore, I think that might have been. No, yeah, it was Moore chasing back in for the puck, Moore for the Bumblebees. And again, the Eclipse forced to defend on their power play. And we will be back to full strength for the Bumble Bees now. That concluding the power play. The Eclipse would have to be pretty disappointed. They didn't get much in the way of attacking. They did far too much defending on that penalty, on that power play that they had, as the Eclipse now back. Sorry, the Bumble Bees now back to full strength. Loose player sitting around in the slot for the Eclipse, looking a little bit feisty. Apparently something's going on that he doesn't like. The referees are standing there staring at him. Don't worry about it, matey. I've got this under control, says Crowther, the ref. And the puck cleared by the Eclipse, but it's an icing. So Long there with an opportunity to put the forecheck on the Eclipse and try and force an error. And he does so for a little bit of a dribbling pass out. And as a result, a nice piece of retrieval there by a Masters from the Eclipse, who keeps possession for the team. And now he chips it back in. And Latima with a chance with some speed. Can he get a shot on the net? Tries to own the puck and ends up in the net himself, but unfortunately not with a puck in his hand. It's almost a goal with your own skates, but you have to have the puck as well. As Muir now makes a move through the neutral zone, chips across to Long, who gets a shot on but misses everything except the back of the rink. Has another chance now for Muir. Passes across to the unmarked Wong. The Eclipse really do need to do a better job of just owning the space in front of the net. They're leaving it far too open for far too long. And the Bumble Bees just with opportunity after opportunity. But another stretch pass here for the Eclipse, looking out for 79 in... I don't have him on here, must be Norris. Gets a shot away. But still only 5 shots to the Eclipse to 21. But this time, Nave gets it loose in the neutral zone. Still not getting the shot on though. And they're just not shooting the Eclipse. And if you don't shoot the puck on the net, as Wayne Gretzky will tell you, 100% of the ones you don't shoot are guaranteed not to go in the net. And they're just not getting shots on when they've had opportunities. And it's a statistic that is all telling is the shots on the net for the Eclipse so far, with 3 minutes to play in the second. They have just the 5 shots, whereas the Bumble Bees with their 22 shots now have 2 goals. Just putting one in there while I was rabbiting on about something else less important than the unmarked Philip Batsakoulis, just taking advantage of that empty space, and you can see totally unmarked, and he makes it look a little bit too easy. The Eclipse have got to tidy up. They've got to own the space in front of the net. They're just not doing it. And if they want to be competitive, they've got to fix that. To their credit, the Bumble Bees doing a good job of creating chaos in attack. But Eclipse are going to get just done over if they don't own that space. This time we have Bolton for the Eclipse trying to clear it around the back. Bumble Bees owning the space this time. Nice control by the Bumble Bees defence, just breaking out of the pressure. But not able to finish it off. And the Eclipse now with a good forechecking opportunity. But Bumble Bees break it out again with no pressure on the weak side. The long stretch pass to the... I think that was Steve Lichter, who fires a shot on the net. And the goalie a little bit upset about that, but that's hockey. Allowed to get shots on, and he's had a fair few. The Bumble Bees now 23 shots on the net, and we will see a defensive face-off for the Eclipse, see how they set it up. 2 wingers across in the middle of the ice, and they break up through the middle, and that provides a good opportunity for the attack by Ma, who's charging down hard on Pino, but Pino manages to clear it out. Latima for the Eclipse tries to break it through the neutral zone. And, manages to end up surrounded by 4 Bumble Bees. Still managed to keep possession, but puck goes out of play. And we will, A, need another puck, and B, we'll have an attacking face-off now for the Eclipse. They haven't had many of these. It's a set play opportunity to see what their centre decides to put the puck and how they line up. Can they get a shot off? It's 1 minute to play in the second period. Bit of a nondescript face-off there. No one really winning it, but the Eclipse finishing off with the puck. Phil Trin trying hard to put pressure on the forecheck. Manages to keep the puck in. But, unfortunately, a shot across ice by Isaac Norris, picked off by Bumble Bees. Latima there to tidy it up. However, Pigo for the Bumble Bees manages to dump the puck down in the corner under pressure, and the Eclipse will break it out under Louis, sorry. Phil Trin with a lucky slap down there, trying to play a little bit of lacrosse or perhaps hurling. Or was it curling? No, I think it's hurling, is that strange Irish game. But another loose player there for the Bumble Bees in front of the net. And you know it, when that happens, you get goals. And that's what happened. Eclipse vulnerable to those loose players sitting around, and you can see there's 2 Eclipse players behind the net, and there's a totally unmarked Lawrence Pigot who just taps it in. And that's because there was, you can watch it on the replay, look at where all of the Eclipse players were. There's all of them behind the net, and Pigot just totally unmarked, just taps the puck in and makes it all look a bit too easy. We have our 60-second break now. The telling statistics so far, 24 shots on the net to the Bumble Bees, Eclipse with 5, and they've got to own the slot, the Eclipse. If they don't do it, they're just going to keep letting those easy goals go in. I think that's probably the key to this. The defence is just getting caught out of place too often, and as a result, it's only a matter of time till the opportunities for the Bumble Bees end up being put in the net, and we just saw one there by Lawrence Pigot, assisted by Justin Orty, I think it is. Yeah, Justin Orty. And so scorers so far in this game, Jeff Thompson, 1 goal, assisted by Wong and Batsakoulis. Batsakoulis with 1 in the start of the second, and Pigot with 1 just towards the very finish there of the second period. So the Bumble Bees up 3-0 to the Eclipse. The Eclipse so far only with the 5 shots on the net. They need to actually take some shots, and they need to own their defensive zone, which they haven't been doing as well as they need to at the moment. The Eclipse, they've got to do a better job of that if they are to give themselves a chance. 3 goals, not an insurmountable lead. If they can get an early one here and give themselves a chance, that's what they're going to have to do. And they've got to keep the Eclipse from having those loose. They've got to keep the Bumble Bees from having those loose players in the slot. They dump it down deep in, and the hand is up for icing. So the forecheck, they're just applied perfectly this time by, I think that's Nave, who's done a good job there for the Eclipse on the forecheck. The team are now back checking hard through the neutral zone on Muir. Muir looking for a shot, blocked nicely by the Eclipse defence. This time they're owning the slot, and they're back in numbers. Got to make sure they don't get caught behind the net now. The puck bobbling out comes to Collins, who fires it in low, looking for that rebound and redirect. And Dayan Phillips not quite able to get it past the Eclipse goaltender that time. But a good Collins knows that you've got to get shots on the net, and that's what he's doing. It takes it out to 25 shots for the Bumble Bees as we have a setup for a face-off this time. And the Eclipse this time managed to break it out with I think that is Trevor Long trying to get through, and puck just went just a little bit too far for him as Astafy fires across the front of the net. Not quite able to get the cross-ice pass exactly where they wanted him. That was a good opportunity there for the Eclipse, but not quite able to finish it off. The referee's hand up now for an icing, and it is cleared, waved off, and the Bumble Bees with a chance to break it out. But a bit of miscommunication. They're a little bit lucky to get away with it. Still more miscommunication as they're not quite looking for the puck, and the Eclipse almost trying to give the game to the Bumble Bees there by just not paying attention as Campbell totally missed what was going on. Still not quite aware of what's going on, Campbell, as the puck just picked on the pocket of Latima. They did manage to get into the zone. Can they get a shot on the Eclipse? They'd be hoping to. They have to do it. This time a move around behind the net and attempted a wraparound goal, which has got the goalie down and committed to the corner, but not able to clear it across the Eclipse. And they get another shot on, and this time it does count as a shot on the net. So the first couple of minutes of this period has seen the Eclipse get 2 shots on, which is as many as they had in the entirety of the second period. So a good start for them. Certainly a better and more positive start than they had in the second period, and they have another offensive zone face-off for the chance. But the Bumble Bees win the face-off, clear it out nicely. Comes across to the weak side as Nave goes in to try and put some pressure on the Bumble Bees, and they manage to keep the puck in. Still with some forechecking pressure here. Good forecheck now this time by the Eclipse. They've managed to maintain possession. Lowry now left on his own in defence as Bumble Bees come through in numbers. Nice cross-ice pass to Batsakoulis, but he's all blocked up there. But he's now floating around free in the slot. But Bumble Bees, Eclipse, with possession, and they break it out cleanly. Good forechecking pressure by the Bumble Bees. Puck now with Lowry, who's looking for a chance to break it out to Ma. Ma looking for a nice little chip pass to Latima, who now has a chance. It's a nice slick puck handling, gets a shot on. There's the rebound, but not quite able to put it in the net. But a good creative opportunity there for the Eclipse. That's what they need to do. Got to do that a few more times, and sooner or later they will go in. Nice little shot through there by Klink, looking for a redirect. And the goalie well and truly on top of that, though. And another loose player in the slot there for the Bumble Bees. still floating around loose, and they're very lucky there, the Eclipse, not to have a third one go in. Sorry, I should say a fourth, by loose players. Just too many loose players bobbling around in the close slot area for the Bumble Bees, and the Eclipse just not closing it down. They do need to own that space. And I've said it before, and it's going to happen again and again and again. If they don't fix that, they're going to get more and more scored on them. Beautiful shot there by Nave. Goes high blocker side by Fisher, who just redirects the puck out. The puck goes out of play, and the Eclipse will get another attacking play face-off with their opportunity. They've had a much better period so far. This third, they've had 5 shots, which adds up to the shots they've had from the first 2 periods combined. So they've been more aggressive, and they've had a couple of opportunities, but they are still leaving that slot area vulnerable to loose Bumble Bees who have been floating around and just waiting to tap the puck in and making it all look all too easy. This time, thwarted were the Eclipse again, as Astafif not quite able to connect with his pass, but they've got another opportunity, but just goes in to Collins, who cleans it up for the Bees, but then he's knocked over, and that's going to be a tripping penalty on Collins. So Collins was tripped, and so the Eclipse will be giving away the opportunity to apply the pressure. And we have seen the Bumble Bees be quite proficient with their power play, as Jesse Moore there, unfortunately, the recipient of a tripping penalty. It's just one of those things, oftentimes it's not a deliberate thing, but the referee has no chance but to call a tripping penalty if your stick trips someone up. They have to call a tripping penalty whether you like it or not. The Bumble Bees win the face-off, comes back to Collins, chips it in nice and low for the unmarked Bumblebee player in the slot again. They're still bobbling around, these loose players, but this time, understandable, they are on a power play. This time the Eclipse, loose puck, they've got to clear that one out. Trying to be a little bit too cute. Phil Trin now with the opportunity to break it clear. Puck still stuck in the zone. They didn't clear it out, and that's a damning mistake for the Eclipse, an opportunity to break the puck out. But this time they do, and Campbell tries to get past Collins and does so, but he's on his own. Javel driven hard into the corner. Phil Trin comes across looking for an opportunity, and we've got a lot of very committed Eclipse players deep in the slot, as we have 1 minute and 15 seconds to go on the Bumblebees power play. They break it out now. A little bit more structure as Collins looking for an opportunity to perhaps take a pass in, but fortunately there for Phillips, he saw the puck and missed it entirely, but Collins keeps the clearance in, looking for another, can he shoot it or pass? Gets a pass across to the slot, and Muir not quite able to get the redirect that he was looking for. Puck now behind the net with Muir as he looks for a unmarked Bumblebee and finds one. And a nice piece of lateral movement across the net, and another shot on the net by, this time that was Phillips. And this time Astafif breaks it out down the line. But Bumblebees again with control coming in. Sorry, that was Latima, and Latima making up for it with a nice back check. Tidying things up now as Bumblebees Eclipse break it out. And Ma offside there, the referee with his hand up for it. It's either offside or icing. I think possibly an offside, but it's all cleared up now. It's quick Ma, but he does get out of position a bit. And, nice battle for the puck now, and we have not very long to go on this penalty. And then the Eclipse will be back up to full strength as the puck is cleared down, and Astafif back on the ice now, and it is a 5-on-5. Bumblebees are breaking it out around the back of the net. And here they come again in numbers, 3-on-2, but the back check by Long effective. Breaks the puck out this time, and they clear it out, but not quite out of the zone. The Bumblebees firing it in again, and still the Eclipse leaving those loose players. We've got Chris Wong just floating around in the slot unmarked for way too long, and a little bit lucky again to get away with it, the Eclipse. Just these little defensive lapses. Hockey is a game of mistakes, and we're seeing them, and they've got to just do a much better job of covering things up now. Of course, they're playing for fun. And a ringer off the post by, I think that we'll see the replay in there. I think that was Long with a nice opportunity. Got past everything, but not quite in the net. It just rung off the post. But it was a good opportunistic shot. He took it when he needed to. From a fairly poor angle, he was forced wide, so good defence by the Bumblebees. Redirect opportunity there, Louis firing the puck in, but just not quite able to get the tip. The Eclipse, it would have been a good chance as a stretch pass through, and the goalie for the Eclipse comes out to tidy it up now. They're vulnerable, they're out of position. But the Eclipse this time back in numbers, but loose player there in 27, and that is Philip Batsakoulis. But this time the goalie gets a glove up and makes a good save. There's those loose players again and again and again. The Bumblebees doing a very good job of just getting open space in the slot against the Eclipse, and the Eclipse just not owning that area. And again and again and again, that's going to keep happening unless they get in there and be a bit more physical. See what happens with this face-off, and this time the Eclipse win the face-off. Nice and safe back into the corner. But it's a bit tangled up now behind the net for the Eclipse, and the Bumblebees a bit of a tussle, trying to clear the puck out the Eclipse, and we will have a tripping foul on the Bumblebees. There's no point in waving at the ref, because if you trip someone up with your stick, it's an automatic penalty. So don't whinge about that one. And this time the Eclipse with the advantage. They've pulled their goalie, so they're now 6-on-5 at the moment. There's a nice shot on the net there. As soon as Bumblebees get possession though, and they do, it will be a penalty on the Bumblebees. With 6 minutes and 20 seconds remaining, Bumblebees up 3 to the Eclipse 0. Shots on, 33 shots to the Bumblebees to 10 to the Eclipse. It's been a much better period, this third one for the Eclipse so far, as they set up now on the power play to see if they can get some more shots on the net. A little dribbler into the goalie from the face-off by Phil Trin, and no problems there whatsoever for Collins to tidy it up. Not Collins. That was, of course, Dan Fisher in the net for the Bumblebees. So far, the Bumblebees' penalty kill has looked a lot like a power play in terms of their possession and control of the puck. They are doing a good job of getting the forecheck in on the Eclipse. And it is exposing them a little bit, but they're getting away with it because the Eclipse haven't been really able to take advantage of their power plays so far. They've had a number of them, but they haven't resulted in an awful lot of shots there, as 13 for the Eclipse. We don't even have one of them. But anyway, it must be someone. They're not totally anonymous, but the team sheet not necessarily matching up with what I have here in front of me. The Eclipse held up on the blue line by a nice wall of Bumblebees, but they do get a shot on. In Astafif, I think that was. No, that was Latima with a nice shot on, but it bounced off the pads, and bounced off the pads of Collins, but no one was there to take the opportunity of that rebound. Stretch pass intercepted by Bumblebees, but another opportunity shot, but no one there for the rebound. But at least they're getting some shots on this time at the Eclipse, and that was a nice shot, and we'll get the replay on that one. I think that was Ben Maher getting the shot on down low, but Colin Fisher doing a nice job of tidying up and a good save. I'm not going to say making it easy, because they never are, as every goalie will tell you, but did a good job of getting a shot on. And we have 4 minutes and 30 seconds to play. Can the Eclipse get a goal? I'm sure they'd be pleased with that. They're playing now for pride. It's unlikely that they're going to get 3 goals back with under 4 minutes to play, especially in a non-stop time game. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen at the moment. As the power play for the Bumblebees is... Sorry, the penalty for the Bumblebees is now over, and they are back to 5-on-5. The final shot in there just as the penalty was finishing by Kieran Long, but it was up high, and the goalie, Ian Fisher, doing a good job of covering that one up. A couple more opportunities here for the Eclipse if they can do it. They've got just over 3 minutes and 40 seconds to play, as a bit of a indecisive face-off eventually cleared by the Bumblebees up the boards, and it gets out of the zone, forcing Eclipse to all clear. Nice forechecking pressure there though by Long, who's now looking for an opportunity to get the puck across into the slot, but no Eclipse players there. They just don't get the slot. You've got to get in there, guys, if you're going to have a chance. And the Bumblebees have done a very good job of it this evening, and that's shown up in the points and in the shots on the net and all the opportunities that they've had as well. Nice little pass across to Batsakoulis. And Wong now moving through the neutral zone, passes across to his teammate in Lawrence Pigot, who has scored once this evening so far. Just not quite taking the puck with him, passes back to his defenseman. He just fluffed a pass. Maybe a little bit frustrated with that, I'm sure. It's Masters for the Eclipse, tries to go through the neutral zone but is robbed. And the Bumblebees in numbers. Loose players in the slot floating around, but Nave comes through to clean it up. But there's that loose player again, and What do you know? Loose player in the slot. Goal. And that was Batsakoulis once again sitting, and you'll see it on the replay. He's just sitting there. And there it is. It's a gift. It's happy Christmas for him. He thinks all his Christmases have come early. You can see it from better angle here on the goalie. No idea where the puck was. It was behind him. An unmarked player in the slot. And if you're watching this, if anyone's watching this, then you certainly don't want to be letting that happen. If you're a hockey player and seeing that happen in your defence, you'd be pretty disappointed. Bolton trying to make a move through the Eclipse. They're playing for pride. 1 minute and 50 seconds to play. Can they get a shot on? Can they get a goal? Nearly. That was a good shot. But Fisher tidying it up quite nicely for the Bumble Bees. And with 1 minute and 40 seconds to go, the Bumble Bees are out to a 4-0 lead over the Eclipse. And 35 shots to 14 is the telling statistic, really, if you want to work out how it's all matching up. The Eclipse have had a better period. They've had 10 shots now, which is more than twice what they scored in the first 2 periods. But they're just not doing a good job of owning the space in front of the net, and they've just given the Eclipse, given the Bumble Bees way too many opportunities to score goals from rebounds and redirects. Can they salvage some pride with just over a minute to play? Masters was looking for the stretch and gets it a little bit messily, but gets it all the same. And a enterprising little move there by Ben Maher, but not quite able to finish off. Sorry, that was Campbell, not Maher, with a nice drive. Looking a little bit frustrated as, again, they lose the puck. But now this time he gets another chance, but this time he fluffs the pass, drops his head, shakes his head. Well, you're playing hockey, the game's not over yet, you've got to keep going. And another shot on for the Bumble Bees. This time Eclipse back in numbers. A little bit of a tussle behind the net between the two protagonists. Perhaps discussing the merits or otherwise of the Large Hadron Collider and the new particles that were discovered there this week, or perhaps the James Webb Space Telescope. Who knows? But either way, there's 16 seconds to go. This will be the last play of the game. And it's safe to say that the Bumblebees have it safely under control. And in fact, it looks like we won't even get a play with a penalty now being administered. But that's full time. And it's all over, including the shouting, and we have a 4-0 win to the Bumblebees. So if you've been watching this, and we hope you are, of course, next week we have the Ducks playing against the, just make sure I get this right, the Ducks are playing against the Brisbane Rampage here in Melbourne. And tickets are available online, and it will be a magnificent show. The Rampage have been playing well. The Ducks outstanding on the top of the ladder. They'll be pretty keen to cement their place in the tops place, which they need to do. They've had a couple of disappointing games by their standards, but they've all been close. And the Rampage will be pretty keen to take another win on away soil against the Ducks. The Ducks will be awfully keen to win. So 5:45 next Saturday, the puck will be dropping. Get your tickets. Come down here to iceHQ and watch what I think it's pretty safe to say is some of the best ice hockey in this country. It's an extraordinarily high standard of competition. And a big thank you tonight to Spacequake Productions for all the camera work and production and so forth. It's a bit of a dress rehearsal for next week's games. We're playing Melbourne Ducks against the Brisbane Rampage on Saturday and Sunday. Get your tail down to iceHQ and watch some of the best ice hockey you will see in this country. Thank you very much for watching this evening.